All right, for those who want the exact measurement for how to tighten the belt here, what you're going to need is some type of measurement device. I'm just using a card that has the actual increments on it, and I'm using this luggage scale that was like $6 off Amazon. Now the exact specs for this needs to be between 8.4 millimeters and 10.7 millimeters of deflection. So if you pull down on this, going right from the middle, it has to be in between those two numbers, but it has to be with 22 pounds of force, hence the actual scale. So what I'm doing is I undo the actual tensioner bolt, which is right there. Just undo it, just a tiny bit, and that loosens the belt just a little bit, so there's not as much pressure on the bolt for this tensioner pulley right here. So what you want to do for this is also back this out just a tiny bit. There we go, that should be. Now you go back under here and find that tensioner bolt. Since mine was loose when I did it the first time, I'm going to tighten it up a few more turns and see where that lands us. So I'm going to tighten up this bolt up there. And when you do that, you're supposed to just turn the tensioner bolt maybe like an eighth or a quarter of a turn right after you tension or torque down, quote unquote, ugga-duggas with that tensioner pulley bolt. Now with that card taped up there, 0 centimeters right at the bottom ridge of that belt, and this pulley right in the middle of the belt itself, I have it set at 22 pounds just so I know how close I am. This kind of does work to where wherever you pull it, and it lands wherever you last pulled the maximum pressure. I just like to set it right on there. So I'm going to try to pull it down, and that was actually pretty good. Upon putting the phone down and just checking one more time, I was just at 8 millimeters of actual deflection. So that is technically a little bit too tight. So I'm gonna back off the tensioner bolt just a tad, maybe an eighth of a turn, and try to see where that lands us. But first I'm gonna undo that bolt so it relieves a little bit of tension, and then undo that bolt, maybe like an eighth of a turn, and kind of see where we land, because we want to be between 8.4 millimeters and 10.7. All right, so I just redid those adjustments. So what I did is I backed that off about a half to 3/4 of a turn. I untightened this just so it's barely loose, and went back another quarter turn or so, maybe another half a turn after that. Then I went back and tightened this and tightened that up another quarter turn. Maybe that was kind of redundant at the end. Nevertheless, that's what I did. And I'm kind of landing exactly on 9 millimeters or so, which is kind of in the middle. And that's pretty damn close to me, which is kind of what I want. Don't want too much, too little. Might take a little bit of tinkering with you guys, but just make sure you try to get it right as close as you can to the middle. Now for this 66G75 motor, not the MeVec, by the way. The same system that I just showed you can be done on the power steering belt right here. So you'll be wanting to pull right here. I actually did change the timing belt and the water pump between filming this video, but I did not torque this down the right way. I kind of just did as best as I could, because I actually lost my other one at some point, other luggage scale, so I thought I'd just over tighten it and be pretty good, at least for a few days until the new scale came in. So yeah, that's pretty much how you tighten the belt on a 6G75 motor. So hopefully that's helpful to somebody. I know there's not a whole bunch of information out there. Sorry, that was my washer. So I know there's not a whole bunch of information exactly about how to do this. I did see one dude describe it a little bit, but he didn't do specifically just this. So yeah, hopefully that helps you guys out with tightening the serpentine or accessory belt.